Welcome back to another edition of the Dirty Verdict Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, full-time mediator in Houston, Texas, Peter Taaffe, joined, as always, by co-host Kyle Herbert.
Super excited to be here, Peter. Thanks for, putting this all together.
And sitting in for our friend Bill Ogden, who was supposed to start a trial in Florida today, but was continued at the last minute until February, but still too tired to come. We've got Amanda Orr, one of our co-producers of the show. Amanda, thanks for joining us. Amanda, tell us real quick, remind us, what is the name of your firm and what do you do?
Orr Strategy Group, and I do PR for attorneys and politicians.
So should we use you or someone else?
Oh, I don't know. That's hilarious.
Get it?
Yeah. So Amanda's nice enough to help produce our show and help us with some of our PR aspects of it. So
sometimes
she does
I feel like it.
That is soft selling it. Amanda does an amazing job of helping us
when she's not busy with her paying clients.
Right. But we appreciate your largesse.
Thank you.
For our humble efforts.
Definitely are overselling it though.
So this is a hard-hitting show.
Always.
And we have only the best guests in town, and we're joined again by the district attorney for the third largest county in the country.
Depends on who you ask, because we're either second largest now or we'll be second largest next.
Jeez.
Okay, second or third largest county in the country, Harris County, Texas. We're joined by Sean Teare.
I am so happy to be here now with that title, as opposed to random political candidate.
So can I if a guest is on 2 times or more, do we refer to them as friend of the show?
We refer to Sean as friend of the show
for a long time,
regardless.
Okay, well,
after you come on once, you're friend of the show.
Welcome back,
or if you send us like a sport on text or something, you're.
So what happens if I do like 6 or 7? Do I get a Steve Martin's?
You get a sport coat, you get a sweater, and you get a small it's a small flag pin. It's not an American flag pin. It's a different country.
Yeah,
but we can do a lot of stuff for you.
All right, good.
Dirty Verdict stand.
Also, you get our endorsement for any future political races.
Yeah. So, when Sean came on, you were running in the Democratic primary for DA against Kim Ogg, and we had Ms. Ogg on as well, and got your varying views on the race, and then you went on to win.
That one turned out well.
And
congratulations.
Then you went on to win the and you won the primary pretty decisively. I don't want you to maybe do a victory dance, but it was pretty decisive.
It was.
And then in the general election, you won. Was it closer?
It was not as decisive. Yeah. It was much closer. It was by about 1.5 points.
Got it.
Wow.
Got it. Okay. But long story short, you were sworn in January?
January 1 at 12:01.
Okay. And you were off to the races. So we're glad to have you back to kind of talk about what you've been doing, what you're learning, what kind of criminal justice issues we're facing in the county, in the city, but also you cover the entire county. And anything else these young whippersnappers have for you?
I mean, 10 months in, I feel like you've got to have this thing licked by now, right?
It's on autopilot.
I mean, this is basically a victory lap, and we're just excited to hear how things are going.
Yeah, we fixed it. Crime's done.
Awesome.
We win.
How long is your term?
4 years. So it is, we run every time with the presidential cycle. So, the primary is always exciting. The general is even more so. So,
well, when you were here last time, one of the issues, and I don't want to get on a negative on anyone, but some of the comments were, you've been with the office a long time, and a lot of the good prosecutors had been frustrated and had gone to Montgomery County, Fort Bend County, some of the surrounding counties.
Yeah.
Have you had, and I think you talked about bringing them back in, or at least providing a forum where they would feel like they were welcome to come back in. Has that turned out to be the case?
Yeah, it's been one of the most humbling and exciting parts for me. We extended offers to a lot of my mentors, a lot of the people that I looked up to that had left, and almost to a person, they came back. Mark Carter, who was the longtime judge of the 228th, is back as my senior counsel. John Brewer, who had left to go to Fort Bend, is now my bureau chief of special crimes. Catherine Evans, who was the judge in the 180th and criminal defense attorney, came back and is my trial bureau chief. Angela Welton, who my predecessor fired, is my special victims bureau chief. So it was incredibly rewarding just to have in unison them all say, yeah, I'd love to come back and help rebuild the office.
Nice. Have you tried any cases since you've been back?
I have. I tried a intoxication manslaughter of a peace officer in March, I think. Defendant was Adolfo Serrano. And that was a special one to me because I had made the scene in 2022 and I'd created the connection with this Precinct 7 constable's mother and really built that relationship. And it's one of the most difficult things of when I left to run was having to sit down and tell them, I can't see this through the way I promised. And then being able to come back in and make the phone call to her and say, I'm trying her case. And so we were successful. We got a life sentence and I am set to pick a jury on December 8th for my second case. So
excellent.
Yeah, that one in March was the first time in over a decade that the sitting DA had tried a case.
Wow. Over a decade.
Yeah. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah. And so some of the other things I think was that Miss Ogg was not as kind of, I think you believe that she would go in her office and kind of wall herself out from the rest of the office. What have you done differently as far as kind of raising the esprit de corps for the office?
I make it a point to go into the courts, to go down and just sit in a random junior prosecutor's office and talk to them and just get, not from the 7 layers of supervision. I just want to hear it from them. I worked dockets, worked a docket last week where, we had a prosecutor who was on FMLA and another prosecutor who was trying a case in another court. And so they were short staffed. So I just went in and started working dockets. And what I found is I don't have the ability to fill out plea paperwork the way I used to, but we can find people to do that. So just getting in there and getting your hands dirty and rolling up your sleeves and doing what you're asking them to do every day. I think I hope it's making a difference.
So, Sean, we have fed you about 10 minutes of just like easy softballs.
Come on.
But you know us well enough to know that that's not what we're about.
This is a hard hitting.
So, honestly, we have spoken to some criminal defense lawyers here who are up against your good DAs all the time. And you can't do your job right unless they do their job right.
Absolutely.
And we've heard a few criticisms. And I'm just going to turn it over to Peter so he can explain what those were of you.
Kyle doesn't always pay attention to everything that's said, let me sure. But yeah, on that. We had Mark Thiessen and Mark Metzger, I think both lawyers that you know and have mutual respect for each other. I think a couple criticisms or comments they had. And I told them you were coming on and that you were very open to wanting to hear, where that is. And these are probably not things that you haven't heard before because both those guys are pretty open with their opinions.
I would say that both Marks are vocal.
Yeah. But I think
shy. I've known both of them since law school.
Yeah.
They're not particularly shy.
No, they're.
And both were wearing costumes at the time they said it. So it was a little, Kyle was probably staring at their costumes and not listening to their words.
It was a lot. There's a lot coming in all at once.
But I felt like kind of the overall theme was that maybe a little too tough. Like the deals weren't as fair as they thought should be offered.
And Mark Thiessen and I go back a long way. As you said, mutual respect. I don't think that there is probably a better lawyer for intoxication-related offenses than Mark Thiessen. Nobody represents their clients more zealously and quite frankly, more adequately than Mark does in those. I think across the board, that criticism is unfair. I think for those kinds of cases, it may actually be accurate. But my job is to see that justice is done. My job is not to make Mark Thiessen feel like he's getting the best deal possible, because there are ways and there are cases that we have to be more empathetic. We have to be more lenient. We have to look at letting people become whole again and getting back on the right path. I am a firm believer in that. And I think what we've seen in 10 months of my running that office, we've seen a decrease in the jail population. We've seen a huge increase in successful diversions, all of that. The cases he's talking about that come from the division I used to be in vehicular crimes are not the cases that I'm looking to move a jail population. And quite frankly, they're not cases when you take someone's life on the road because of a selfish decision, are cases that I'm looking to be lenient on. So Mark absolutely is suffering to a degree because we now have incredibly competent, empowered, well-trained prosecutors facing him that over the course of the last, 2 years since I left that role, we didn't have as good. So he's going to run into stuff like that going forward in those cases. But I think overall, it's not a fair criticism.
But you're saying philosophically, these vehicular crimes, you guys are taking a slightly different approach than the previous administration did. Fair enough?
Certainly more competent.
Yeah.
When you say vehicular, you're talking about someone's drunk and kills someone.
Intoxication, manslaughters, felony murders, where it's a pursuit that kills someone, DWI thirds, those kind of cases. But that's not the only type, right, that we're focusing on. But
No.
those are
Just addressing what Mark brought up, which is like, to be honest, I hear people tell us I'm lefty, right? Like I'm overly
same.
Yeah, I really want people to get a second chance. I want them to give every chance that they can get to be successful. But at the same time, the way I feel about DWIs from 20 years ago to now is different. Like, there's so many ways to get home now.
So
and so like it's hard to be sympathetic,
right? And
I assume that's how juries feel.
And you see that in the ways that juries return punishments. But
yeah.
Let me give you a little stat that I think is so important to really illuminate the way that I want our office and prosecution to go. In 2015, we had a population of this county that was about 4.5 million. We had a 9,000 person population in the Harris County Jail, sustained.
That's a lot of people.
We had a massive fluctuation, but we've shaved 1,400 off of the total population from January 1st to now. Our population as a county is 5 million now, and our sustained population in the Harris County Jail is about 8,600. In 2015, the number one type of crime that you were incarcerated for in the Harris County Jail, either being punished or awaiting trial, was possession of a controlled substance.
Mm-hmm.
As of August of this year, the number one crime that you were confined in the Harris County Jail is aggravated assault. Number two is aggravated robbery. Number three is murder. That is what we're doing. I am not holding people for dope cases.
Yeah.
Right? We're either diverting them, we're putting them in our reintegration court, we're doing other things with those people as opposed to sitting in the Harris County Jail, either awaiting trial or serving your sentence.
Costing you money, messing up their lives. Yeah.
Money.
Taking the spot of aggravated assault.
That's the key.
Yeah.
Taking a bed from someone who sticks a gun in your face in an ATM.
Yeah. People that belong to be locked up.
Those are the ones that I think I was elected to remove from society. Those are the ones that make people feel unsafe, not somebody that's got a dime bag in their car.
There you go. Okay.
Hard to argue with that.
Yeah.
Obviously.
We always take sidetracks into really dumb questions.
I love that.
Starting with me.
But it's a lot less since Bill's not here.
True. So 8,600 kind of, not the same 8,600, it's a revolving door, but 8,600 people are.
That's why you say sustained population. Yeah. We fluctuate anywhere from 88 to 84.
The term is recidivism, Peter. Recidivism.
So that's like a town, that's like Brenham which I don't know, Brenham may have more, but a small Texas
way more. Brenham's completely filled with criminals.
with
Everybody knows that.
So
It's like Australia.
Yeah.
what
It's like Kirk County.
Yeah, what job title is effectively the mayor of the Harris County Jail?
Ed Gonzalez.
Okay, so county sheriff. Okay.
Oh,
He-
what a
he
thank
runs that.
job.
Oh. And he does a truly amazing job with limited resources, and that's being kind to the number of resources he has. I think that having to deal with all of the things he's had to deal with externally, and I'm not talking about Hurricane Harvey and COVID, I'm talking about other departments that won't collaborate and won't work. What he has done is nothing short of a miracle, quite frankly. And now that we have a lot of collaboration, we talk with his team every day, every morning. We work through that. I think that his life is becoming a little easier, but that job it's thankless.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, I've got another set of questions, but before, do y'all have any on the topic of the Sean Teare DA from January 1 until today?
Well, I just wonder what you see as the biggest opportunity to improve safety in Harris County.
It's twofold. What we are doing in the short term is really leaning into our diversion programs, right? The one that we're actively working on right now that we're going to roll out, I hope we roll out by the end of this year, is a partnership with the AFL-CIO as a whole, right? All of these trade groups and unions, because I had no idea how many unions here have apprenticeship programs that are strictly, you don't pay. They're looking for members. And depending on the apprenticeship, it doesn't really matter what your background is. Some of these apprenticeships, they can take you if you've been to prison. Others, you need to have a clean record. But the universal truth on them is you can work and get paid while you're working to learn a trade and actually learn a career. So we're going to start working with them and giving these people that are charged with crimes options, right? Like, you and your attorney, here are 5 or 6 apprenticeships that are enrolling right now. And you think about how much money we spend on monitoring these people for the lower level crimes, especially on bond, pretrial supervision, even on a probation. Our probation department or our pretrial supervision department still have to monitor them. Drug tests, checking in, community service hours, all of these things. These all have infrastructure built in, like the IVEW. They already have random drug tests for them. They require them to be in class X number of hours a week. They require them to be on job sites X number of hours a week. They're working hand in hand with mentors, with journeymen. They're teaching them. I don't have to pay to supervise. I have that built-in supervision. So with these groups, all I have to say is your diversion program is we're going to keep your case open for a year. And if in a year the journeyman comes back and says, we've worked with this person, they've had no no positive drug tests, they're working through, they're going to continue on this. Why in the world would I keep their evading, their possession of a controlled substance pending? Those are cases I dismiss and move on down the line. The odds that person reoffends are plummeting. And so that is the way that I think we create a culture where reoffending is not something that's going to continue to happen. And on the other side of it is we have experience now. We're slowing the attrition rate. We're getting back to a point where some of the best trial lawyers in the country are working at that office again. And so when you commit a crime that I can't divert you for, now you're going to be removed from society for a while. And so I think those are the two ways we're going to make it.
That was funny.
No, I want to emphasize how it was that. Did you come up with that, or are you going to, like, that's pretty innovative to partner with the unions?
So the only reason I came up with it was during the campaign, I got introduced to these unions and these guys for the first time, right? Because I'm a native Houstonian, grew up here. I didn't really have an idea about how many unions are in our area. I always thought of unions as Rust Belt, Northeast, but our unions here are dying to grow. And we are such a community with the ship channel here, with all of the building and all of the construction that we do as just Houstonians. They're hungry for people. And so as I was going through all these tours and meeting these different groups, I was like, why in the world haven't we already been working with them? And so it was an idea that evolved through probably the first half of my campaign and really solidified around the primary time. And by the time I took office, I have yet another one of my incredible returning people. Cheryl Chappelle is in charge of our Mental Health and Diversions Bureau. And so she and I have gone on a roadshow. I mean, we have toured the elevator unions. We've toured the IBEW, the pipe fitters, the stagehand. I mean, we have a stagehand union here that's robust. So we've toured all of them, and we've really gotten to the point where we're getting close to being able to roll this out. And the really cool thing about the diversion program, because I want this to go into probation eventually as well, but that takes so many more people buying in, right? The judges have to agree and have to come up with an MOU with them. The probation department does too. But diversions are just a contract between me and the defendant. So it is my office and the unions agreeing. And so I think this can be a proof of concept where I can show data over the course of a year or two that we have extraordinarily low recidivism and a very high success rate. And then we can move forward going.
Yeah, maybe get a little funding.
As somebody who's a government employee a long time, funding from outside always helps.
Yeah. Because I would think that is that would seem to be a bipartisan kind of thing, that DAs or in other counties that are, have Republican governor or I would say a governorship, they'd be interested in that too. In fact, I think that was great. So, hopefully that'd be something that at the state level or federal level could look into and fund.
I hope so.
And the other thing too, I was thinking on the probation or any type of supervision, a lot of times the offender has to pay a big part of that out of their pocket, which makes this downward spiral that they can never get out of. And that would be probably lessen what their financial commitment.
Well, when you think about it, we are set up as a society, right, for cash bail, which 95% of all crime comes from a position of need. I mean, whether it's need for that exact thing or something else, it's poverty, it's lower socioeconomic groups, it's education, it's health, all of that. 95% comes from that. And we're asking the vast majority of people to come up with money in order to get out after you're arrested, right? Just a quick question to the gallery. How many developed nations in this world still utilize cash bail?
One.
That's the answer. It's just us. It's just us.
What does everyone else do?
Everyone else does what the federal government does here. It is a risk-based model. That's it. Are you a danger to the community? Are you a flight risk? The answer is no to those. Here's your court date. We'll see it. We still ask people on, an 8-ball of cocaine, I need $5,000 from you to get out.
To be fair, if you can afford an 8-ball, maybe you got extra $5,000 there.
Well, I was just trying to talk to y'all so that you can understand. But yes,
You could understand.
It really is. It's mind-boggling that we still utilize that. But once you get out on bail, we're asking you to find a job. And, oh, by the way, you have to tell people you're out on bail the jobs aren't really throwing themselves out for you, and you have to pay a supervision fee every month. If I can have you earn money with a built-in job and reduce the supervision fee, because the apprenticeship program is absorbing a lot of the things you would be paying for, drug tests, all of those things already, it's a no-brainer, and the amount of times that you're going to have people reoffend while they're out on bond is going to go down. Because you're always going to have the percentage of people. I've been in this job too long to not think that you're going to have this percentage of these people that are going to reoffend. That absolutely is going to happen. But now I got a lot more bandwidth to hammer them when they do.
Yeah. Well, good. Kyle?
I was just going to say, I had a very brief stint in your office long before you were there. And I,
Looking at R. Kelly tapes.
yes. And I asked my
Never
boss,
been the same since.
truly, I have not. We were backed up, like months backed up in our work. And I remember
Sure.
I asked my boss,
Who was it?
Kathy Braddock, just great lady. Kathy, if you're out there, like, miss you. Wish you were still my boss.
Kathy, I'll see you in December.
I would say, Kathy, how are we ever going to get caught up on this work? And she'd say, Kyle, if we could just get people to quit committing crimes for 10 days, if everybody would just agree, don't wreck anything for the next week and a half, we would be 100% caught up. I always thought that was just a hilarious way to look at the world.
I mean, it's right.
Yeah.
It's right.
It's not possible.
No, it's not possible. I tell people, I have friends that are like very Republican tort reformers. You'll be shocked. And they'll say,
So do I.
And they'll say, we need less lawsuits. And I will say, I agree. And I have the solution. And they say, what's the solution? And I said, if everyone in Harris County stopped acting like a fourth grader or less, and were just kind to their neighbors for the next 6 months, I'd be completely out of business.
Oh, yeah.
Or driving. Just everyone stop driving.
Self-driving cars.
Yeah.
So I remember when I was covering trials for Dateline, all of our capital murder trials, the murders occurred in December. Is there like a certain time of year that they generally occur, or is that just those types of murders?
No, you can target so many, from Thanksgiving to New Year's.
That's when people they lose it.
So intimate partner and family murder.
Violence goes up. That's
Skyrockets.
crazy.
Skyrockets. You also see a big spike around 4th of July. And
Like people, can I guess? Like people boozing outdoors with family.
correct.
Yeah.
That's
So, well, your kid, well, not your kids, but like you're home with your
Like your
Yeah.
kids are your baby mama.
Shooting guns and
I mean, that's just
Human nature. That's
a
crazy.
truism.
It's a great statement.
And everyone knows it, and I have a bunch of good friends that are homicide detectives, and they literally will, they fight to not be able to call
Yeah.
at Thanksgiving.
Yep.
So,
They want to be Christmas as opposed to Thanksgiving, which is crazy to me. But
so your suggestion for people that want to remain safe is like Christmas time and 4th of July, roughly kind of hold on. One, stay away from like randos.
oh no,
But also like,
go hang out with randoms.
Yeah, it's always
that's the thing. Is it to stay home and be safe, or like go out and be away from your family that might kill you?
Yeah, no, it's I don't have a lot of advice on that. It's just, we have to be reactive as opposed to proactive in the DA's office, and so I think that's where I'm going to stay on that one.
I'm just saying, it's just crazy.
So the other thing I learned during my Dateline days is when a jury reached a verdict and they would come out before they would read the verdict, if they were looking down guilty, if they were looking at the defendant.
Not guilty?
Yeah.
Oh, is there some truth in that?
We so at least in the way that we talk about it in ours, if it's who they're looking at. So if they're looking at the DAs or the prosecutors, you feel good about it, right? But if they either won't meet your eye or they're looking at the defendant, it typically is not good.
because they want to see how the defendant reacts when they get little.
Oh, they always look at the defendant when the verdict's being read.
I want to see.
All the case, regardless if they walk in or not. They're always looking at that point, but it's when they walk in. That's it. And I have nothing but anecdotal evidence.
What about time frame? Like shorter time means conviction, longer time means acquittal, or
Typically, shorter time is always good for the state.
wow. So I mean,
Not
like
always, but
in me and Peter's business, right? Like shorter time means defense verdict, longer time means thinking about like damages, right?
right. They're getting to the numbers.
Yeah.
Having been on your side a number of times, longer they're out, the better I always.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
if they might need to borrow a pencil or a calculator, just like let them get.
Can we award more than they asked for us?
The lawyers seem to suggest this number, and it might be too small. It's everybody's dream come true.
All right, new topic. This is a hot one in the country, and that is the practical effect of the immigration clamp down and this emergence of
Going hard here.
Yeah, well, it came up with the marks last time, but it's an issue that everyone's having to deal with, and particularly I think Sean you're probably at the forefront of dealing with it. So the first, and we'll get into how is it affecting you generally, but to start with their comment, they said if we have a witness that helps us on the defense side, and they're not here legally, there's no protection to them, and they're not going to show up because they're afraid ICE will be there to pick them up.
And rightfully so. For the first time in as long as I've been doing this, they have a justifiable fear that in the courthouse, ICE can show up and deport.
So right.
Well, go ahead and finish your question.
They said on the flip side that your office has the ability to provide protections to prosecution witnesses who are undocumented. That's not fair to them. But I think in talking offline, maybe they've got a little off.
And if I could make it like a quick clarification, because I've been getting a lot of these questions from friends of mine. We're not talking about you prosecuting illegals. That is a federal issue.
Correct.
We are talking about your ability to prosecute criminal cases and other lawyers to defend them because of this new situation with people that are immigrants being witnesses or accused. I mean, I just want to make that clarification.
I am in no way in the business of, and we do not ask witnesses or complainants their documentation status at all. I don't want to know. That is not a factor in how we plea bargain and how we prosecute cases. Full stop. This is going to be a roundabout answer, but it is absolutely the right question to ask. Globally, the rhetoric and the actions coming out of Washington, D.C. and Austin are, whether intended or not, having the exact 180-degree opposite effect than what their stated outcome is, which is to make everyone safer. Period. What they have done is effectively put a target on an entire population inside our community.
Because they can't fight back.
One that unquestionably is one of our most important populations. Our undocumented population here not only makes this city more vibrant and better, but they also do so many of the jobs that we all rely on just to survive every day. So we can set that aside, but they have put a target on that population to say that people that are here with status can prey on them without fear of law. The number of calls for service, the number of calls to the police for anything have plummeted in that population. The intimate partner violence and the quite frankly just hell that these people are being put through, we may never be able to quantify because now the calls are just not coming, right? The amount, and I am keeping track. We are going to have a number, but the amount of aggravated sexual assaults of children, the amount of aggravated robberies and aggravated assaults that we cannot prosecute anymore because the outcry witnesses are either refusing to participate or have been deported is through the roof. And that means we're putting predators that we know to be predators back out on the street, child predators, because of the behavior of our federal government. I have it's not even anecdotal. I know of 3 cases where we have, because what the marks we're talking about are U visas, we have 3 individuals that are on U visas.
And what is that?
So U visa is it's a way that the federal government can say, if you're a material witness to a certain type of crime and you're here without documentation, we can get you the documentation.
You have a temporary permit to reside here. Yeah.
Right. Where even people on U visas have been, or in the application, which stays all deportation things, they've just been shipped off. And I mean, we've all heard of literal U.S. citizens being detained. So it is across the board making us all less safe, how they're behaving. Now, of course, defense witnesses don't have the same level of resources to get U visa process going. They don't. It is a problem for defense witnesses that we are also dealing with, but not at the same level. And I completely agree with the marks. And I love that we've just started calling them the marks.
No, it's the marks. No.
But what I have told the defense bar and will continue to tell the defense bar is that there will never be, from the state's side, any retaliatory action toward one of their witnesses, right? And I don't think anyone in the defense bar believes that anyone that I would employ would call the federal government knowing that someone is coming to testify. And that's, now, just like my outcry witnesses, who I don't believe anyone in the defense bar would call and say you should be in this court at that time. They're just too scared to come. Despite the fact I'll say, look, if you need a U visa, we'll start the application. They're just too scared to come. And that's what they're running into as well. And for the first time in my career, I can't even give the state's witnesses that reassurance that I've always been able to have, because long before they were called ICE, we had an agreement. They didn't come to criminal courthouses. They didn't come to courthouses. They didn't go to churches. They didn't go to schools. We've seen them violate every one of those in the last 10 months. So yeah, I'm with the marks, and we are all scrambling to try to still get justice for every person in this county.
Where's the court where you can get redress if you've been unfairly picked up? Is it the immigration, some administrative law judge?
I think the answer is there isn't one.
Yeah, there isn't one.
You get picked up and you end up in Costa Rica or wherever. Right. But maybe
if you're lucky,
right?
I mean,
it's crazy. Look, we all know these examples from law school, right? The Star Chamber, and then putting bags over people's heads, and they end up in a different country.
And with the immunity of the government,
yeah,
who's going to turn around and sue? Like,
no recourse.
Like, there's no recourse, and I don't even think there's a court of law to go get recourse.
Have y'all had ICE come into the courthouse? You said there have been some violations of the handshake agreement.
They have not come into the criminal courthouse. They've been in the jail for years, and in all honesty, that's where they should be.
That was the whole.
So that's the whole. That's where they should be.
Yeah. So when I worked there 20 years ago, if you correct me if I'm wrong, if somebody was accused of a crime, and in addition to that, they had immigration issues,
right,
they would be given the option: we can prosecute you here in certain cases, or you can self-deport home and agree never to come back. And that was the law, and the kind of go along, get along from LBJ until Trump.
Right. And look, I've been there 20 years too. And historically, you get charged for a misdemeanor.
They're not sending you to a different country.
You just want to go home?
If you want to,
go home.
Fine.
We're not making that deal on murders. which
Obviously.
is cool. You get to do life in a U.S. prison.
For sure.
They're trying to deport people that are charged with murder now. And I'm like, hang on. I need to prosecute this person.
He doesn't belong in Costa Rica. He belongs in jail.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's so upside down right now. Because there's no, I can disagree with the federal government's like plan and what they want to do with immigration. And I think it's pretty clear that I do, but at least have a cohesive plan, right? That addresses some of these things. What they're doing is literally just performative, and it is affecting all of us at a really significant level.
Yeah. It's cruelty for the sake of cruelty.
That's exactly what it is.
Okay. Well, Amanda, have any questions there? Are you going to sit this one out?
No comment.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, the idea was it was originally sold as we're going to go after all the criminals that are not from here. But I've heard anecdotally that they've kind of run out of criminals to lock up and deport, and now they've got all these people and because a hammer that's looking for a nail.
I think a real data point that we all have to talk about anytime we talk about this crackdown on whatever they're cracking down on is, by the numbers, the group of people in this country that commit crimes at a lower percentage than any other group is our undocumented immigrants. Right? I mean, the vast majority of them don't even get speeding tickets because they're terrified.
Yeah.
There is a percentage of them that that are here to prey on other people, and let's prosecute them. Let's get them out. I'm all for that. But we
That's literally your job.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But we villainized a group of people that, statistically speaking, are the least dangerous people than anyone else in this country.
Yeah, it's such an interesting topic because in a country as large as ours and a state as large as ours, there's no one size fits all approach. There may be some counties where that makes sense, sure, but not in Harris County where there's a huge population. You need to be a little more, I would think, a little more tailored to the environment. Yeah, but
Is there a population that statistically creates the most crime in Harris County?
Yes.
And what is that?
The U.S. citizens.
And that's all you're going to say.
Is it white gingers from West Houston? Because if it is, we should profile her.
good question. Okay, guys, what other topics would you like to cover?
So I have a question. It's purely political, and I think that your answer might be pass, which is fine.
God, I can promise you my political people are hoping it's passed.
Well, it's really just, I think most of our listeners are they're probably more sophisticated than me or Peter, which is sad.
That bar is low.
But but it's kind of a random question. So our mayor, Mr. Whitmire, spent a ton of time on the prison system and justice when he was in the Texas legislature, specifically the Senate, like the last 30 years.
Yes.
And Harris County is getting a lot of pressure on a lot of different fronts from the Abbott administration. And you had I would say, a very contentious race with your predecessor, probably one of the more popular races in the last 20 years in Harris County.
I enjoyed parts of it.
I did too, to be honest, as a spectator. But my question is, how do you see the general lay of the land in Harris County politics? We've got Democratic mayor who's kind of been accused of being a Republican. There's a lot of moving parts out there. What's going on in the Democrat Republican Party in
Harris County?
Yeah.
Well, Sean's been accused of being a secret Republican, right?
Depending on who is tweeting at me, I am a secret Republican, or I wake up every morning and call Mr. Soros and get my marching orders.
Are you talking about George?
I am.
Yeah. Nice. Great guy.
Well, to put context on it, I mean, as you said, in the general election, everyone thought when you won the Democratic primary, you were pretty much in for sure. And obviously it was surprisingly close.
Right.
So I don't know, are you asking whether he thinks we have a potential in this next 26 to have a flip, or do you think Harris County is always going to be in this razor thin kind of margin depending on who's?
No, I mean, I think my question's a little bit different. Like, folks in Austin are talking about like taking over Harris County. They've already taken over our school district.
Right.
They're trying to pass laws that really limit your authority to prosecute
They have
cases.
done so. It's
And they've done so. But we also have we have a mayor who's been a Democrat his entire life and been in the Senate for the longest time of any serving senator. There's got to be some tension there. It's kind of interesting to watch from like a very short distance, and thought,
it's an interesting time. It really is. I think that Mayor Whitmire has done some really good things. I think that Noe Diaz, the chief that he brought in, he and I have been dear friends for more than a decade, since he was a Texas Ranger before he even became police chief in Katy. I think he's doing some really fantastic things with HPD. I think that we're going to see kind of what happens in 26, right? Because both sides, the Democrats and the Republicans, are cautiously optimistic about Harris County.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
And I think we're going to be one of the real kind of bellwethers, for lack of a better term, around the country to see if there is a move like 2018, right, which was a distinct Trump backlash, that saw in an ushering like we haven't seen in Harris County. And that really was the year that gave Harris County this moniker that we are deep blue.
Yeah.
And so if we see the same kind of reaction to Trump's second administration that we saw in 18, then I think you're going to see a lot of less enthusiasm for Harris County in the 28 election. But even if it is like it was, where it's 50-50 or even 51 Republican in the off cycle, then I think that all bets are off, and you're going to see a massive influx of money from both sides to Harris County in the 28. Because in my short time as a politician, when you start talking about national money, the flux is where they think that they're on both sides, where they think that the other side is weak, that has had a stronghold, or that they think it is a battleground with enough population. And so Harris County, over the course of the last 15 years, has checked every one of those boxes.
Yeah.
Which is why we're inundated with commercials and millions and millions and millions of dollars, even for local races, because they think it can move the needle.
So 26 will have governor, and then locally we'll have county judge.
So county judge, Senate, senator, and governor are going to be the three that really kind of drive the train. And you're going to have the congressional races with the newly redrawn districts. So every one of those, even the ones that they are seeing as either moving from heavily Democrat to leaning Republican, or the ones that were Republican and now are leaning more Republican, I think you're going to see both sides dumping more than normal money into those races, because quite frankly, we just don't know. You don't have the historical context that we have had in those. So it's going to be a really dynamic race in a lot of different down ballot races that typically are foregone conclusions. Like the fact that Al Green isn't going to be representing the Heights anymore is wild, but he will likely or potentially be the congressman from the 18th, which is Sheila Jackson Lee and Mayor Turner and whoever's going to win this. Like, you've got a lot of different moving parts that's going to make 26 a really compelling year to watch.
Good year to be a political PR person, Amanda.
Yeah.
Are you hiring?
I actually don't like taking on political clients during seasons like this where it's really contentious, but I do have one political client right now. So, of course, I'm interested in your thoughts on the Harris County judge race.
Yes. It is going to be a fascinating race. Like, I mean, and I'm not saying that just as a politician, right? It's going to be fascinating. Whenever you think of Judge Hidalgo, and I personally have an extraordinary amount of respect for her professionally and personally, she's a friend. But her not running opens this to everyone, right? I mean, there are people jumping in that wouldn't have if she was still running. So our former mayor, Denise Parker, is in. She is going to be a really fascinating candidate for county judge, right? I mean, she's shown that she can run and run well a giant organization like the city of Houston. There are other people. The Democratic primary is going to be interesting. I know Marty Langton personally. He's a very charismatic, compelling guy.
And fun fact, so Marty went to Strake Jesuit, where I was a cheerleader, and Sean went to St. Thomas, and we were all
Rivals.
Same years. We were all in school at the same time at the same games.
Wow.
I'm able to look past. No, so it's going to be fascinating. I honestly, I don't know. I really think the primaries are going to be more compelling than the general, because I think one of two things is going to happen. I think the actions coming out of DC are going to dictate so much. I think even though we don't have straight ticket voting anymore, I think you're going to see a referendum one way or another. I really do.
That's a good point.
And probably a runoff with so many candidates on both sides.
But
right?
you can't have a runoff in the general.
Right.
Unlike,
But yeah, the primaries.
the primaries, we're going to be having runoffs till May.
Great for political consultants.
What is the
Kyle, I'm getting out of this mediation deal. I'm going to be a political consultant.
You really,
same.
you'd crush.
Yeah.
Can I be your assistant?
Yeah. It's all right.
So my question was, what is the office with the least amount of responsibility that me or Peter could run for and still get George Soros to give me $1 million?
This is a great question.
You're all over Reddit and the internet. You are a George Soros. You just
corollary to the question is there still a dog catcher role in the county?
Yeah, it's animal control, and trust me when I tell you, they are busy. You know, that's our job. I mean, they're grinding it.
Where you get to dress up like a safari guy at least, though. I mean,
you could look like Brian Fellows.
Yeah,
Brian Herbert. But Peter and I we want to get on the George Soros money funnel. What's the job that the easiest literally do?
So here's the thing: if you're looking for political people to just throw money at you
and grift,
you cannot be a Democrat. The Republicans, like the Dunns and everyone else, comparatively speaking,
got the real cash.
They throw money much more ridiculously.
To be fair, that's
people
fine.
on this side do.
Well,
the vetting and the work that Mr. Soros and his groups do, and the few other big benefactors we have, is really, I think, impressive. I don't think that may be true all the way on the other side.
All right.
So I'm just going to say,
got our marching order.
Hold on, Amanda's got to chime in.
yeah, I have to say it because I know people are going to be watching this, my client and supporters. We're doing this as a podcast, informational. Doesn't mean we necessarily endorse anything, especially me.
Y'all, the name Soros has come up more than I've heard in the last year. Maybe I don't follow the same.
Well, it's just because there hasn't been an election in a year.
Yeah, got it.
No.
Kyle's obviously dialed into that stuff.
The podcast is still looking for our first sponsor, and whoever wants to step forward, we're ready to do that.
Got it. Okay, so probably wind down a little bit. I wanted to do a little hypothetical criminal question
God, I feel
for our
like
district attorney.
Going to jail.
Here we go.
Okay, so hypothetically, if you're at a public place, let's say hypothetically the State Fair of Texas,
Okay.
and maybe you get an altercation with some other people,
I'm bringing this up.
and the fine officers there take you and place you on the ground and tell you cannot leave until they're done talking to you. And let's say then they question you, but you're not free to go.
Mhm.
But you're not arrested. You don't have handcuffs.
You're detained.
Detained is a legal term.
What? And your name might be Maker Bayfield.
No, and you happen to have either maybe a friend or say, I don't know, your father is a lawyer and asks if the lawyer can be present when his client is being questioned while detained by a police officer. Or is a police officer legally required to allow the lawyer to at least be present during that interrogation?
He's not required to allow the attorney to be present, but he is also not allowed to question the detainee if he invokes his Fifth Amendment right at any point, even during a consensual encounter with a civilian that's not.
Why are you looking at me?
Yeah. Usually when that happens,
All
the officer
answer.
goes, "Okay, we'll take you down the station, and we'll
Sure.
sort this out later."
Yeah.
So it's generally, I think, I don't know. This is obviously not legal advice, and this was maybe
That should have been the caveat.
Yeah.
Nothing we say here is that's
not legal advice.
It's never going to.
It's still lost.
And hypothetically, if this happened, maybe the advice was just talk to them and then give the officer a way to let the problem remove itself from the situation and everyone go home.
Yeah.
And maybe that turned out to be a good outcome. So
I don't want to sound super dumb, but there's like a comedy sketch that Tom Segura does about that TV show, The First 48. And he tells all these ridiculously hilarious stories about all these people going to jail. And then he's like, and then this one guy said, I want to talk to my lawyer. And he was acquitted 13 hours later. The obvious point is, man, if you get arrested, shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up.
as your DA if you feel free to communicate with law enforcement.
But I mean, like, that is the beauty of our Constitution, that the full power of the state can arrest you.
1,000%.
And you could say, I deserve counsel. That's majestic and wonderful.
once you're under arrest, I think that's a good. If you really didn't do anything wrong and
And they're still chatting with you.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe.
I like
Unless you're
it's a lot of
black.
things.
I mean, that may be the right call.
But, there are, I think that a lot of people that have a distrust for law enforcement don't believe what you just said, which I have seen be successful time and time again, where if you are in the right, explain to the first officer on scene what happened.
As your legal counsel, do not listen to him. He is the prosecutor. Do not
And
listen.
a lot of times you're released. I've also seen where people think they can talk their way out of something they did.
And it's up.
It's the worst.
Right.
Like when a defendant goes on the stand, even. I mean, it's horrible on the scene and on the stand.
As a prosecutor,
They'll never
it's one
talk.
of my favorite.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite first 48 things to talk about.
Yeah.
Segura.
Awesome.
They used to follow the Harris County Sheriff's Office homicide detectives. And so I was a young prosecutor. This was like 2010, I think, 9 or 10. And so I'm trying a first 48 case. So I'm going through all of their footage and stuff. It's like, this is going to be the greatest trial ever, right? And then they call and they're like, we want to do an after the first 48 where they film the trial and stuff. And I am just over the moon because even then,
You're like, let's do this.
I was a fan of cameras. And so they do it and they film, they interview us and everything. And then they just didn't air that episode.
Bastards.
And to this day, I am so mad that. So yeah, that's my after the first 48 thing.
That seems lame.
I agree. I wonder if they could bring it out now.
Are there any
They
good,
probably have the footage.
are there any good cop shows being filmed in Houston right now? I haven't seen any in a while. That kind of ran its course, I guess. It's not as popular.
Can I ask a slightly different question?
Mm-hmm.
Do you listen? I feel like everybody in the world has a spouse that's currently listening to like true crime novels to go to sleep. Oh, and this has got to be a signal of like deep, deep psychosis and mental irritation. Tell me that you don't listen to these true crime shows when you go to bed. And if you do, what are your favorites?
I don't.
Because you gotta go to a job.
Like I don't unless it
Right.
is someone like one of my friends that is in it.
Right.
Like, so we brought Courtney Fisher from ABC 13 in as my director of communications. And she did Texas true crime. And so they would go back and do these really great documentaries about the famous cases in Houston. And so I always joke with Courtney about it. I was like, the only ones of yours that I'm going to watch are the ones where you did one with John Jordan or you did one with Therese Buse or something. Because I like to see my friends, or like Kevin Petrov at the Killing Fields. Like I will watch those, but I'm not going to watch it. I mean, I can go read an offense report that is
Worse.
more interesting
Yeah.
and worse than anything they're going to be able to.
So if it's something like really good, you'll tune in, but everything else. Right?
Really, if it's just somebody I know.
So you should listen to BBC Hands Tied podcast. I'm in that one. It was the Sandra Melgar
Oh,
trial.
I remember that trial. So
Was it John?
No, it was Court.
It was
Colleen.
Colleen and Seacrest.
Yes, and Mac. Colleen versus Mac. And so in a weird kind of twist, Colleen had come back. She used to be my district court chief when I was a baby. And during when we all came back in 2017, Colleen I was supervising Colleen. And so I was her division chief while she was trying Sandra Melgar. That was a fascinating trial.
It really was.
And she's just, Colleen is one of the great, like, just friends that I've had in that building. And
I mean, I've
so
said
convinced.
that watching that trial, I could not have, if I was on that jury, I could not have convicted her. I just didn't think it was, I didn't see the evidence in there, but good for the DA's office.
Yep. Okay, final thoughts.
I know that I'm not putting her on the jury.
I will always get struck on a jury. No problem.
Okay, final thoughts. Is there a serial killer
I'm so
on the bayou?
took this long.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Follow-up question. Is there a serial killer? Follow-up question. Why is it Bill Ogden?
Because he
chose for some reason he did this one back up.
Have you ever seen Bill Ogden not in the presence of a crime scene?
No, so
It's definitely Bill. Sorry, Bill. Going to jail.
Tony Busby's been talking about a bunch of bodies
Okay,
found, which I've just heard. I've heard that. Is that a thing from your side?
No, there's not a serial killer. What
said the serial killer.
Oh my God, you just accused.
It's just serious. Sean Teare's the serial killer.
Oh, so it's never coming back.
What I think this highlights is that we have an incredible homeless problem, right? Because just for everyone watching, there's not a serial killer, but the vast majority of these bodies are people that are living in these homeless encampments that are almost always close to the bayou in different places. And so when these individuals get intoxicated, they have begun to fall into the bayou and can't get out. And so that's I think 6 of the 8 that we found. And it just highlights that we don't treat mental health. We don't treat addiction the right way here. I mean, we just don't. And so that's what we have. We have an undiagnosed and untreated problem in mental health and homelessness. We do not have a serial killer. Right? trust me when I tell you, I have dug through this. We don't have a serial killer.
So what kind of knife is the serial killer using?
See, if any of these tragic souls had been actually physically harmed, I would be more concerned. But they're
Drowning.
that's the cause of death that we've seen in almost
Drowning,
all.
exposure.
Yeah, because they have this issue in Austin where they think that's happening on Lady Bird. It's all like kind of young bros that they think were taken off Rainey Street, but I don't think anyone's drawn any conclusions just yet.
It's tragic, and I'm not saying that there is not a serial killer out there. I'm just saying this is not evidence of that.
There you go. See, everyone had to wait to the very end of the show to get that.
So they got all of the rest of our ducks.
Sean, by the way, we have a lot of folks on here who are less forthcoming with their thoughts, and you're really like laying it out there. I really appreciate it. Thanks for coming back on. I appreciate
It's a blast. And again, is it 5 or 6 before I get the sweater?
We'll make it 5.
We'll make 7
for you. 5. You get double appearances since you're a high profile.
I love that.
Yes.
I love that.
But you're now at 4
Okay.
officially, so you got one more to go.
One more, and then bathrobe, sweater, whatever you'll.
To be fair, like it's just a matter of the budget. And
Is there any on your program the union collaboration? Have y'all put a name to it yet? Have you done anything internet wise that people can look into?
No, because when we roll this out, I want it to be as close to at least on paper ready to go, right? And part of it is having a name, because I think actually giving that real kind of branding matters.
Mm-hmm.
Because shockingly, there will be detractors, which is fine. I haven't gotten this far without detractors. But we need to have it tight, because like I said, this is a proof of concept. This can't be it needs to be tight. And that's not to say that we won't pivot.
Yeah. We got to work through
For
shinks. And
there will be growing pains, but we need to have it as close to
not the worst idea I've ever heard.
Yeah.
In city government.
Something.
Yeah, it really is.
And who knows? Maybe we'll have a county judge who is a former union chief. Never know. Who knows?
Maybe so. Maybe not. I never know.
All right. Well, thanks, Sean. Really appreciate it.
Thank you guys for having me.
If you like this, follow all the things, subscribe, YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TikTok. Where else, Amanda? Audible, Amazon Music, wherever you get your podcast, video on YouTube, obviously. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. Good night.
Adios.
We probably